Hey, Ecamm fam, welcome to sunny Scotland, where today I was going to do a sort of a big reveal on all the stuff I've been doing on my Stream Profiles store, but it didn't quite work out that way because I got carried away with various different things, including Ken and Glenn introducing the concept of being able to bring the virtual camera into Keynote and what I could do with that, and then creating a whole bunch of other designs and things along those lines, so I didn't quite get there. But what I thought I would do today is to share with you a free profile so that you can go download it, play with it, and get the idea of basically using profiles that are already pre-built for you in a sort of ready mix format so that you can just go make some minor changes and suddenly you are running a show or running an interview or running a presentation rather than having to start from scratch every time. So that's the principle. So what I've got for you is a very simple one or two guest profile and just a few scenes for it. But I'm going to show you what they look like, and then I'm going to go into live demo mode and let you see what else is in there. So I've started off with the welcome screen. Then I've got an agenda screen. Now, this isn't a live agenda. This is an agenda that is fixed at the moment. In the big version, if you want to call it that, then this agenda runs, but it's just a standard agenda at the moment. So I see Neil's in the comments. If you want to jump on the live, feel free to do so, Neil, because I could do with somebody sitting next to me and just to show people what things look like. But let's run through a couple of these different slides or scenes. So I've just got a standard solo scene with a wide angle on it, one for me and one for the guest as well. So one for me with the guest, just side by side, very, very simple. And another one for me with the guest if I want to do some nice looking comments type of things. Hey George, nice to see you in the comments as well. And that's for just one guest, and there's some for two guests as well. So as you would expect for two guests, I've also ran through moving the highlighted person as well. So there are shots for guest one highlighted, guest two highlighted, and hopefully Neil may join me in a minute and I'll bring him on as well. And here we have another scene set up just for two guests. So that's sort of the basic format. There are three different backgrounds to choose from, plus a color block background, and I'll show you how you change those in a minute. But for the moment, let me just run through what they look like. So this is background number one as a choice. Here is background number two as a choice. And here is background number three as a choice. Now you could have any of those in there, or you could in fact do just a simple color block. So in here in the background I also just have a very simple color block, and you can just go change the color of that and it will change everything on the screen for you, because there's a clever tint and blend mode going on. If I turn the tint blend off, then it goes back to the original color, and now it's going to come back in my blended color. So the blend blends everything on the whole screen just to make it look nice. So these options are available to you. What you could potentially also do as well, if you really wanted to, was not use any of those and potentially just drop, for instance, a photo in the background. Now with the photo, I'm not going to want that on the blend mode, because this is what it really looked like when I was in Mallorca, not pink skies. So you can turn the blends on or off and drop anything you want in the background really. So the format is still going to be the same regardless of what your background is. So let's bring that blend back on. We'll get rid of that image there, and I'm going to bring back on my original business background because I want to show you a slightly different version of the lower third banner. So at the moment I've got lower third banner in there, and you can just go in and change the text or remove the text as is your want. Because I've placed those in show in all scenes, here comes Neil. Let's see if we can bring Neil in. Hey Neil, I think you're in the green room and on mute.
Hopefully you can bring me in. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
And now he's appeared.
As if by magic. How's it going, Martin? Nice to be
It's
here.
very good to have you here and have somebody live on the screen rather than just me demoing myself all of the time, which gets a bit boring after a while.
No
Um,
problem.
so, so thanks for appearing and for nearly matching my background as well, which is, that just makes it all that much better. So, uh, so I'm just running
No
through
problem.
people this sort of free profile I've got to download available to people at Selfie. I've got written that down. Streamprofiles.selfie.store. I'll put a link in the comments at the end, and hopefully I'll get the link correct this time, which I didn't do on previous occasions. So I've
You're
got two
so good.
versions of banners here. So I've got this banner which is currently showing. So if I hide that banner for the moment, I have another banner as well, which I've just put over the top of one of the others. So this banner has been designed in such a way that I've got my comments built into the banner. So it doesn't make any particular sense on this view because I've got two lots of comments. So let's jump up to a different view where I've just got one guest plus host. So I could have this kind of view and have my placeholder for comments sitting down the bottom in that particular banner, or I can have my other banner on instead. Or if I choose to, I guess I could have neither of those banners on. So let's hide them both. So I could have neither banners and bring in your own placeholder comments if that's what you prefer to do. So it's entirely up to you how you want to run the stream. So I'm just going to bring that one back in again to show you the comments. And what you can do is go jump down and make changes to any of these in anywhere you like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into live demo mode. And what that will allow me to do is to try and show you how this works in the background and what's in there. And Neil can jump up in with any questions that I may miss, because I frequently do miss. I scoot over things, assuming everybody knows what I'm talking about. So let's try live demo mode. Absolutely no good in live demo mode, but I'm going to try it anyway. And what I'm going to do is just zoom in a little bit on the side here so you can see what's going on. So back to front from the way that I normally have things. So normally I would have my scenes at the top whenever I'm doing anything in Ecamm, but I've switched them around just so we can see what's in the background. So in my scenes, I've just grouped them all into intros, solos, scenes for one guest and scenes for two guests. So it's as simple as that, really. So you can make copies of those and make versions with more people on it if that's what you really want to do. So you can just drag and drop those in. But what I've got in the two areas here is I have got what is showing in my current scene sitting in the middle here. So obviously what you can do is go and change the text for Martin or for Sheena or Neil, as it is in this particular case. But we can also change the backgrounds. So the backgrounds are all in show in background. So I have got my business background here. Turn it off. Turn this gradient one back on. Turn that off. Turn the gradient back on. And finally, the image of Mallorca looking a bit pink because I have got a tint and blend going on. So if I turn the blend off, then the blend disappears. So if I come back on, I'm going to turn the blend back on and show you what else that does. So if I bring in, let's say, this background here again, and I choose up here in my blend to change the color, then that's going to change the hue of the background, and it's going to do it across the whole thing. So I'm quite dramatically changing the look and feel of the background with just one click off that blend mode. So simple as that. So believe it or not, the blend mode there is magenta. Doesn't look particularly magenta, but that's what happens with blend modes. You could go to the mode itself and change the overlay mode as well. That will have even more dramatic effects, some of which look good, some of which look terrible, some of which make things like disappear completely. So I'm sure if I choose luminosity, everything's almost going to disappear and wash right out. So play about with those by all means, but if you just stick to the overlay one and change the colors, then the colors will change for you. So in the background as well, I mentioned that I've got a color block as well. So let's turn that one off and just turn the color block on. So straightforward color block, and I can again come up to my tint and change that, or change the color in the color block, and it will change around. And you'll have to play about with these because it's going to do sort of a blending thing, and it won't necessarily turn up as the color you think it's going to turn up because it's blending it. So it's, in this case, it's blending it with the background, and you get all sorts of different combinations going on, but you can just have a very simple looking background if that is what you want to do. So that's those two different areas. We then have the banners up the top here. And if I look at the banner which I am currently displaying, because the little eye is on, these are the elements in the banner here. And I've also got a little tint and blend on the banner. So if I wanted to blend or unblend the banner, then I can change the color of the whole banner as well. So separately from the rest of the screen, I can change the banner if that's what I want to do. And obviously you can just come in here and hide or show different elements of the text. So if I decided that I didn't want to have any text under that side, then I can just turn it off or bring it back on, or indeed go and change the text within that banner if I want to. So that's that banner. Let's hide that for a minute, bring the other banner back on. Exactly the same sort of thing. And this banner, of course, does have my Stream Profiles logo in there. So I was doing something very recently where what I actually did was put somebody's logo into that location. I then picked the colors from the logo and added them to the tint and blend. And suddenly everything on the screen was matching their logos. And that was even when I've got different diagrams, different backgrounds of business type flows and colors and things, it will pick up from those colors and blend them in. So that was very, very easy to do. And the client in this case was incredibly impressed that they didn't have to do anything, and the whole screen just changed for them. So these are the different things in the background, not that many of them really. There's also a grid, so should you choose to decide that you want to play about and start adding things in, then turn the grid on, move things around on the screen, and then turn the grid back off again. As simple as that, really. So I think that kind of shows most of the things that are in the background. Let me come out of live demo mode again. Right, hopefully I'm out of live demo mode. I'm going to turn that color block off and bring back in my favored business one in the background, and I'm going to change the banner as well to bring in the other banner, just because I think that looks nicer. And let's just run down a few of those scenes now that Neil's actually here and can be my muse for the day. So it's the easiest live you'll ever have to do, Neil, because you just have to just sit there. sit there and be Neil. So start my show off, and then I go and run to my standard scene and my agenda, and then I can have me spotlighted, or I can have Neil spotlighted. Here comes Neil. I'll let you blend in because I've got it on the a slow blend mode there for the transitions. Myself and Neil on the screen together. And obviously I'm now noticing that the labels are not quite in the right place, and I want to go change them, but I'm not going to do that live. You can go do that for yourself. Things you get. People are getting it for free. They can go nudge that label over a little tiny bit. But it's the sort of thing that would drive me bonkers if I didn't change it. But here we are. And as I previously mentioned, I've got me highlighted. I've also got a scene for my guest highlighted, and also one for guest 2 highlighted. So we don't have guest 2. Maybe we should have got George to come in as well. But hey, no guest 2. But here's potentially 3 of us on the same scene together. So that's how everything works. Let's go back to me and Neil together at a very basic level. So in order to get this profile, you're going to need to go to my store, which I will put a link down in the comments, and it'll be the first thing that's presented to you, free profile for Ecamm, and you can just go through the standard shopping cart procedure. It won't ask you for any credit card details or anything like that. You may need to put a value of 0 into the how much does it cost option. But what it will then do is just send you an email with a link to it, and then you can download the profile from the link. Now, from experience, occasionally we know that email addresses are not loved by Sellify. So I know that Neil had a problem with his email address, but just changed it to a different one, and then everything worked. In particular, if you've used your email address for email marketing, Sellify doesn't seem to like that. So just try a different email address if pretty much instantaneously you don't get a link for the download. When you get the download, just download it to wherever you normally store your Ecamm assets. So in my case, an external SSD drive, so that I don't lose the profile or bits of it don't get sucked up into the cloud. So put it wherever is a safe place for you. Then just open up Ecamm, and if you haven't done this before, just double click on the profile and it will instantaneously bring that into Ecamm for you. Now at that point, what you probably want to do is make a duplicate of the profile, just so that you can go and mess about with it and you don't mess up the original one. So just make a duplicate, play about with it, and if you break it, it doesn't matter because you've got the original one that you can go back to, or you can just reload it back up again. So from that perspective, those are the sort of basic building blocks. But the goal really here is to have some much more comprehensive profiles that have got agendas that build for you and have got things flying in from left and right and a bit of motion background and 10 different choices of backgrounds and all sorts of different interviews with different shapes and sizes and circles and all sorts, right up to 10 guests. So that's what will be in the big profile. Then halfway through this week, I decided to redesign it a bit. So there's going to be 2 versions of it. One will be, I suppose, for want of a better description, a kind of a flat version in terms of design. And the other will be more three-dimensional style, where I put some gradient blocks on to give, I guess, a more dramatic effect. Some people will like it, some people won't. So the choice will be yours, so to speak, when we get to that particular point. Have I missed anything, Neil, to this point?
I don't think so. One thing I was going to ask you is if people did want to give you a donation for the profile, can this profile in particular that you're asking people to download for free now, people can just put a figure, a value in the
Sure.
Sellfy store, right? And just do that if they wanted to contribute. Because this is one of my favorite profiles, actually. I think I mentioned it on when I commented on your YouTube video. I really like these colors. They actually blend in very nicely with sort of what I like as well. And it is one of my favorite. So yeah, I think if people want to donate, they should do, particularly if they're getting this.
Well, that would be very kind. There is a pay anything you want type option on it, so that's why you have to enter the 0 in. But you can pay, anything up to a couple of $1,000 if you really want to.
I was going to say, is there a limit? Like, is there so many zeros you can add to the end of it?
If they start doing that, I'll maybe put more free ones out. So we'll see how it goes. I don't think there is an upper limit. You can always try, Neil, if you want to.
I'll not bother with that.
Yeah, we'll pretend it's not Turkish lira or something like that, where it runs into the millions or something. So that's up there. More generically, the store itself, it's a work in progress for me with a whole bunch of ideas on it. There are 120 different backgrounds to choose from on the store at sort of $10 each. And then there's some motion backgrounds, and there's also some transitions as well. Those are things which I'll be talking about in more detail as we go forward, but they're all there as a sort of a mind dump at the moment. I know some people have already grabbed some of them, and I think Holden's using a couple of them over in Japan, but I haven't really refined those totally. They're just in there at the moment, but they will also be built into these overall profiles, because I think the power is in the profile. I know that I shared a profile with Neil not so long ago for his show, And literally, I fired the profile over, and Neil was able to load it up and go pretty much instantly with a few
Yeah.
tweaks. So, so I think there's a great power in Ecamm profiles, which is currently underused. Really, there's millions of places that you can go and get different pictures effectively to drop into the background, and then you've got things like Uno that will allow you to do other things as well. But that then becomes quite complicated when you try to implement stuff, some of those different bits and pieces, because you're changing things in several different locations, and it becomes, for me, a bit ham-fisted when you can do it all in Ecamm if you just take the time to do it. Because I've spent so much time in Ecamm, I can probably do it all very quickly. But the idea here is that most people will be more interested in delivering their content and working on their content than necessarily how big is that box and how big is that box and do they line up and do my colors match and where do my comments go and does my lower third look any good. Loads of people out there, their time is far better off spent working on their content and just picking something up and going, oh, that looks good. Oh, 2 or 3 buttons, I can change all the colors. Oh, I can put a different background in. Right, ready to go. So that's the purpose of this. As I say, I was going to do a sort of a big reveal and show you everything, and I just kind of ran out of time because Ken and Glenn introduced this concept of virtual cameras going into Keynote. So I went off and started playing about with sliding things around and Keynote, and then before you know, the day's gone. And I've achieved sliding things about and running Keynote back to front, and I wonder what happens if I could do it with NDI feeding from a second Mac, and well, the day goes. But I wanted to put something out today because I appreciate Katie said or gave me kind permission to put something out in terms of a stream, and so what I'm going to do is next week I will put out the full profile, show you through the full profile in more detail. And if Neil's around, he can feel free to join me, and I will change a placeholder from Sheena to Neil, and we can have a look at some of the bigger profiles that I've got in there, because there's all sorts of moving agendas and countdown timers and all this sort of thing that people quite often struggle to put together. It's all there. It's in the profiles. Click on them. Vump. It will all be there. So next week, the big reveal. Most of this stuff is normally paid for at fairly low costs, at kind of $1 a scene effectively by the time you add it all up. But I'm also going to be doing some promo codes for the Ecamm fam as well. So they will be restricted to certain profiles for a certain period of time. But if you want the promo codes, then do make sure that when you're logging on and getting the free stuff, that you click the little sign up box as you go through the store process. Also, in the description for the profile itself, there is a link to my YouTube channel. So this video will be going out to my YouTube channel. It's completely unorganized chaos, but there's lots of interesting things on there. I just need to get them in the right place and in the right order. But there's a selection of sort of how-to stuff and thinking behind this and everything, because I'm now just, whenever I do a live to the group, I just feed it out to the Ecamm, to the stream profile YouTube site as well. So 23 followers or something like that at the moment. But having said that, there's 500 views. So 23 people must like whatever I'm doing quite a bit. Interestingly enough, I think the most popular thing is the green screen with 3 lights on it, which is uber popular. So I need to revisit that, and perhaps when you go and buy that green screen, Neil will get you using that and
Yes,
come
definitely.
live.
It's on my list. It's on my list to do. I was going to ask you real quick. So your new profiles, are they available right now, or are you still, there's one work
No.
in progress that you want to finish yet, or you've been
Yeah, they're
tweaking
kind
them?
of there's a work in progress which I'm trying to finish at the moment. So pretty much the starting one that we're giving away free today, that's done with much more in it. That's pretty much
Okay.
finished, but I haven't got around to uploading it to the store, and you have to go take all the photographs and then put in a description and all that sort of stuff. So that one will be there, I would say, probably by the end of the weekend. Then there's the sort of more 3D version. That will be coming probably towards the end of next week. And then I may well revisit one of the first profiles that I did for streaming, purely because you're always learning as you go along. So in this process, I've learned, the showing all scenes and showing background and where I can put things, just to minimise the amount of work that people have to do. Because if you think about it, if I had this lower thirds banner sitting here and it wasn't in showing all scenes, you would have to go to every single scene and type in Neil Ferrimond,
Yeah.
Martin McKenna in every different scene, and you'd be there all day.
Right.
So by choosing a particular area of the screen, which I've reserved for the banner, and then swapping the banners around, you only have to change it once in one place. And similar for the showing background for the different backgrounds, and then putting the blend and tint over the top. And in fact, on the full profile, there's a blur version as well. So I can blur the background slightly. So where they're looking a bit sharp and bright, you just blur the background, and then you put a tint on it that's slightly darker. And suddenly, instead of being this sort of bright colours, which I really like this one, but if people don't like it, then they have the ability to go and blur and tint and change and make it look their own. And as I mentioned, drop in your own logo, color pick your logo, and use the blends for that as well. So it's all about learning about things as you go along, and what happens when you put things in different places, and looking at the compound effects of blurs and tints and things like that. But that just means I redesign everything every 5 minutes, because I'm saying, oh, right, I know what I'm going to do with that. And then just as I think I've finished, right, I think I need to change where that sits and move about the camera background, and then change the blend on the camera background, and so on and so forth. But eventually, I got to the point of, no, stuff it. I'm just going to push something out, because otherwise I'll be there forever redesigning, and
And
people
tweaking.
therefore people won't notice the difference, probably, apart from me. But there we are.
I had just a very quick question about the so the this profile and the new profiles on your system. Will there be on your YouTube channel or here somewhere on the Facebook group? Will there be links to maybe some tutorials or walkthroughs?
Suddenly gone on me.
Oh, sorry, you
Oh,
disappeared. Are you back now? Sorry.
I'm back now. Right. I was getting a lot of crackling going on, so I just switched my audio round and then switched it back
Right.
again. But I guess your question was about tutorials, and are
Yeah,
they
just guides,
available?
walkthroughs. Yeah.
So at the moment, they're available in a kind of a random way on my YouTube channel, if I want to put it like that. But actually, now I've actually put this together, the profile together, then it'll be very easy for me to just knock out a few tutorials that are a little bit slower. So I will do that, hopefully within the next week anyway. I will just spend a few hours in a row doing purely tutorials, and just trying to number them or letter them in the right way. So hopefully they will be of help. There's stuff already there, but people who are brand new to Ecamm will still look at this and suddenly go, wow, there's a lot of things in there. And the answer really is, in most cases, just don't touch anything, right? Just go and change the text and you're good.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Change the text, don't touch anything else. And if you want to make duplicates of a scene, make a duplicate of a scene and then move things around, so you don't break the original scene until you're happy with whatever you get. So you can't permanently break anything in Ecamm, but you can make a mess of things. But these, pretty much all you need to do is change the text or put in your own logo. That's pretty much it, really. So don't be frightened by the fact that the banner's made up of lots of different things, or that the backgrounds are made up of lots of different things. Just leave them where they are. They'll be fine. But I have tried to order everything within the profile as well into folders. so that if I want to get rid of something in a particular scene, if I want to get rid of myself, then I'm in a folder and the whole folder is going
Right.
to disappear. So I've done that throughout the whole thing so that if people want to get rid of something, they can just close the folder down and put something else in the place of wherever that folder was. So it should be pretty easy to make things appear and disappear and just hide them, even if it's temporarily, while you play about and see if something looks correct, and then come back and do them again. So thank you, Facebook user, for saying that they love the value that the two of us continue to bring to everybody. So that's very nice.
That was Lion. Yeah, I can just see it on the
Lion.
Facebook side. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very much.
Lion. Very nice of you.
Thanks for joining us. So I think that's probably me half an hour-ish for this evening, but that's really slightly longer than I was going to do there. But I'm glad Neil joined me so that this does look real. But anyone who wants to go do interview mode, you can now do interview mode. I will drop the link into the comments so that you can go and get this. And I'm guessing I already know somebody who happens to be watching, Lion, who will be there downloading things straight away and having to play about.
Exactly.
So do that. The biggest compliment is if you come back into the group and show us what you're doing. That would be fantastic. So I think that's probably time for me to say cheerio from Edinburgh, and Neil to say
thank you and goodbye from Portugal.
see you later, folks. Bye for now.